Hello everybody, some would say I'm the reverse, and welcome to my review for Arrow Season 8, Episode 3, titled Leap of Faith. Alright, let's just get right into my general thoughts about the episode. In my opinion, I think this is the worst episode this season thus far, but not by much. I don't have a lot to say about this episode, actually, because my my opinion on it is sort of fresh, and yeah, there's not much that to talk about. There are some really important scenes and some plot points that I think need to be talked about, but there's not too much this episode. So let's start off with the premise of the episode. Last week's episode saw Oliver at the end, not trusting the monitors, so he goes to Nanda Parbat to try to find some answers because they are an ancient, all-knowing organization, even though the League was disbanded. But he finds Thea there. He goes there, and he finds Thea. They don't know who they are. It was a short fight scene, and they realize who each other are, and well, they stick together throughout the entire episode from there. So yeah, Oliver and Thea meet up with Talia, who basically she doesn't know who Marnovu is, but she is going to lead them to uh, what's his name, Alpha T's Alpha T's, like, basically the records of the League of Assassins. Alpha T was the very first Ra's al Ghul, and all of his stuff is in the catacombs, and I'll talk about all that later. But they run into the Thanatos Guild, and they have some cool fight scenes. Um, and well, it's revealed that Thea, along with Nissa and Roy, like last season, they revealed that they were destroying all the Lazarus pits, and apparently they've done that already. Nissa is, I don't know, she's in some country somewhere. We don't know where Roy is. We know he goes to Lian eventually, but we don't know where Roy is right now. But Thea has been waging a one-woman war against the Thanatos Guild, so they are her enemies in this episode, along with Talia and Olvers. But yeah, they go for they climb. There's multiple homages to the to season 3. They have the climb where they climb the face of the mountain, which is just like the climb Oliver made before fighting Ra's al Ghul in season 3, episode 9, which was called the climb. Um, Oliver and Thea sitting by the fire um, is an homage to season 3, episode 14, I believe, which is titled The Return, uh, which was which was, I think, the episode where Oliver and Thea went back to Lian Yu, and they had a run with Slade. So and then there was also in the John and Lila storyline. That was a direct homage to season 2 in the Suicide Squad storyline with Golim Kadir, I think his name is. Yeah, Golim Kadir. His son is in this episode. I'll talk about their storyline later. I'm going through all the Nanda Parbat stuff. But yeah, they go into the catacombs, and basically, they want to find anything on Marnovu or the Monitor, which they eventually do. I'll go over that. But Talia actually has an ulterior motive. She wants to get the sword of Alpha T, which basically gives her command of the League of Assassins, and that's what Athena of the Thanatos Guild wants to. She wants to restart the League of Assassins, uh, and basically fight Thea and any other enemies, and do assassin type stuff. But yeah, that's basically that's their goal, is that sword, which uh, I think Talia and Thea share at the end. I'll talk about that later. But but yeah, they get this like ball thing that it's like a map to the artifacts of Al-Fatih's tomb, basically, and they give it to Athena in a fight scene. Uh, and they after that climb, they meet up with the Thanatos Guild, or they cross paths, and it turns out that they actually captured Talia, and they use Oliver, Thea, and Talia um, to test out the catacombs to watch out for any traps. And yeah, this is basically the height of this storyline. Um, and they get the sword, I think, and they get the book, and they get what they wanted, and they defeat the Thanatos Guild. And yeah, Talia and Thea actually fight, and Thea beats her, and Oliver's there to witness that. And I'll talk about all the Anti-Monitor stuff later. But basically, Thea leaves with Talia to start a League of Heroes, is what they're calling it, which is kind of a stupid name, kind of on the nose, but it's fine. It won't come up again, I guarantee it. But yeah, that's how their storyline ended in this episode. But let's go over another storyline. Let's go over the John and Lila storyline, which revolves around Ben Turner and his family. Ben Turner he's on a mission somewhere, and his wife and his son have actually been captured by uh, Golim Kadir's son, because Ben Turner actually killed his father, so he's getting revenge on them. And Lila and John, they go to basically save them. And well, long story short, they do. There's not really much to that storyline. They do save them. Like I said earlier, this is a direct homage to the Suicide Squad episode with Golem Kadir, I think his name is. Yeah, Golem Kadir. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about that storyline. The third storyline of this episode is the Flash Forward storyline, in which they are actually going to the Deathstroke gang's hideout. Zoe, Connor, Mia, and William are all head to the Deathstroke gang's hideout, and they have a big standoff. And well, JJ kills Zoe, which wasn't too surprising, as the or the episode 4 synopsis kind of spoiled that a member of the team would be dying, and I think Zoe's actor was the only one that wasn't a series regular. But the big part about this storyline, and also Oliver's storyline, is they all flash back to the bunker. They literally flash back. A huge flash of light shows up in front of Mia and William and Connor. And I think it's JJ and his Deathstroke gang also get transported. And then there's Oliver, who also experiences this flash of light in Nanda Parbat, and it sends everyone into the Green Arrow bunker. And that's how the episode ends. So that's just a crazy, crazy ending to the episode. But let's talk about some of the Anti-Monitor and the Crisis stuff. So they find the sword in the Nanda Parbat storyline, by the way. They find the sword, and it comes with a book, or they find the book, and it has a picture of the Monitor, and has some Arabic text that Thea can read now. She learned how to read Arabic, but the text says that Al-Fatih was visited by a god who basically said that if you don't do, I think it was, if you don't do what I want, I will destroy everything. That's just me summing it up. I don't really care the exact words, but that's all that really matters. The the leading theory is, well, Oliver and Thea think it's Marnovu, or the Monitor, but it's really the Anti-Monitor. That's the leading theory. That they just don't know who the Anti-Monitor is yet. At first I was thinking, like, damn, is the Monitor actually evil, or is he the Anti-Monitor? But then I realized they don't know who the Anti-Monitor is, so they're just drawing conclusions. They just think that it's Marnovu, but it really isn't. So I don't think that the Monitor is the Anti-Monitor. I don't think that the Monitor is evil. I just think that they are misinformed, and they don't know about the Anti-Monitor. So they see this god that looks similar to the Monitor, and they think that Marnovu is evil. But that's not the case. So this is our first tease of the Anti-Monitor, or the first mention of the Anti-Monitor in the Arrowverse, even though it's indirect. They don't say the Anti-Monitor, they think it's the Monitor, but by the picture you can see his wrinkly face, just like in this picture. The picture in the book has a wrinkly face, and it's the Anti-Monitor. It's not the Monitor, like they think. But they don't know about the Anti-Monitor yet, so they're just drawing conclusions. So it's pretty cool to see the Anti-Monitor get introduced, at least the idea of him get introduced in the episode. And like I said, my Flash review, if you guys have already seen that, then you'd know that I said that the Monitor, or the Monitor stuff in this episode actually related to, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the Flash episode yet, relates to the Monitor stuff in that episode, with the ending with Nash Wells and the Monitor hologram thingamajig. It could have been the Anti-Monitor, and yeah, I think those two storylines, or those two sort of, I don't know, plots are related. So we'll have to wait and see till next week's episode, which looks crazy. Mia, William, Connor, all the flash forwards people from the year 2040 have been flashed back to 2019, and Mia gets to meet her dad, and William gets to reunite with his dad after years and years of not seeing each other. And Diggle is probably going to learn that he eventually adopts Connor, which obviously happens in the future. But I think John Jr., JJ, and his Deathstroke gang flashed back as well. So we'll have to wait and see next episode. The synopsis says that there is a new Deathstroke in town, which is probably JJ. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm really hyped about next episode. We get Renee and Dinah back, and we get Team Arrow back. We haven't had them all season. We've only had Renee and Dinah in episode 1 as the Earth 2 doppelgangers. So, yeah, like I said, I don't have a lot to talk about in this episode. I thought it was a good episode. I'd probably give it maybe a 9.3 and maybe 9.2 out of 10. I thought it was the worst episode so far. Or no, I'm not even going to say the worst, because it is still a very, very good episode. I'm going to say it's the least good episode of this season so far. Next episode looks really good as well. This episode probably had the least homages so far to past seasons. Season 1, or episode 1, obviously had all those callbacks to season 1. And then last episode had the season 3 flashback storyline with Hong Kong. This episode didn't have too much, except that they went to Nanda Parbat. They climbed up the wall, or they climbed up the mountain. They sat around the fire, and it was really just small little things like that, small little visual cues that called back, and sort of storyline similarities with the John and Lila storyline, calling back to the Suicide Squad storyline, but not as much as the last 2 weeks. And I forgot to mention that Katie Cassidy actually directed this episode. I thought she did a really good job. And yeah, I always love when cast members direct episodes. They do that on The Flash a lot with Tom Cavanaugh and Daniel Panabaker. So, yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for next week's review of Batwoman, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, all the shows. We're on episode 5 of all the shows, except for Arrow's episode 4, but we're getting closer to Crisis. So I hope you guys enjoyed. See ya.